Hello and welcome to this special TISA podcast, Beyond Perceptions, where we explore stories of r- resilience, self acceptance, and social change. My name is Vidya Lalgudi Jaishankar. I I- I am an artist and a volunteer at TISA. Today, we are delving into the intersecting worlds of stammering and vitiligo, from self acceptance to advocacy, and importantly, how we can work towards a more inclusive future. Our guest today is SushAmita Jain, a passionate advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the founder of Support Vitiligo, a platform dedicated to raising awareness and building supportive community for individuals with vitiligo. Through her work, she has encouraged people to embrace their uniqueness and has shown how empathy can build confidence and meaningful connections. Welcome, Sushmita. It is so wonderful to have you here. I would like to, ask you, like, you have become a leading voice for vitiligo awareness and inclusion. Could you please share your story and how your journey into advocacy began?
Hi everyone. Very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. Thanks a lot, Vidya and team for having me here. In terms of my journey, I would say it started, in the space of whether it's with vitiligo or towards inclusion itself, it started with self-inclusion, I would say. And it was around maybe, like it slowly started. Of course, I got vitiligo around 9.5 years of age. And that time, me, my parents, we hardly knew what it was. And also, not much, there was no awareness. Of course, I'm speaking about 90s, late 90s. And and that time there was no awareness per se. And even, doctors, I don't think there was much awareness on skin specialists, dermatologists, and so on, right? It was only the general physician or kid style specialist. So we went, and then, maybe it took us maybe 4 or 5 years or more to even know that there is something called vitiligo. We would always call white patches, or in Hindi they say safed dag. In local languages it has its own name, right? And yeah, it can be quite often mistaken with different things. It can be mistaken with albinism, which is a different condition, which also leads to vision impairment in some cases. In vitiligo, it's not the same way. It's mainly the discoloration of the skin color. And there are other things also. People sometimes mistake it for leprosy also, right? So these are some of the, some of the parallels which people tend to assume, draw, which was quite common earlier. Now it's far better, I would say. So what happened was, as I kept growing, during my teenage, etc. Maybe, initially, what helped me was people. It's very common that people come and suggest, use this medicine. Even now, recently, when I was out with my family, I had one person coming and saying, "Did you try this?" But what has helped me is, instead of avoiding or making a sour face, I would engage in a conversation with the person. With an intent of, learning something from them, and also they get to learn something from me. So initially, of course, that that irritation will be there, that why people are asking all those things. But my journey actually started when I started to speak for myself and also talk to the other person rather than avoid the other person. So that's how we include ourselves and we include the other person. If we don't have a conversation, and then we shun the opportunity to even just have that conversation. I'm not telling you need to encourage all kind of comments. We can always draw a line, but ideally it is very important to have that conversation, educate people, also ask in turn. And my journey started there for inclusion, and then it kept growing. Of course, I started my career as a software engineer, but parallelly I also started working on a video for vitiligo awareness. Yeah, that's how my journey further took a very clear shape. Because and I never thought, people kept reaching out. I would talk to them online, or I would make videos to address a larger audience. So videos have helped a lot. And yeah, and because it includes medical aspects too, so of course many people reach out in the form of, getting inputs as a, of course I'm not a professional counselor, but yeah, they want somebody to talk to, or they want to, but after one point, of course, I suggest that, you go reach out to a doctor or a professional where you can get further support. But yeah, the content online, and also earlier I had a very, like a active community too. So all those things had helped people. Yeah, that is how it had started. And now, of course, I've been a full-time professional, so I do my best to create content online and also address people as they reach out.
Thank you so much, Sushmita, for sharing your story. When uh, preparing for this uh, podcast, I was having conversation with Harish, TISA's uh, president. So he
Okay.
shared a beautiful poem, which is like, I mean, on World Vitiligo Day, I have something to say. So this particular poem was written by, Arvind Gupta in 2008, which was also published in our community magazine Samvad. Okay, so I will bring it up in the screen, that poem. I would like, Sushmita, like, if you want to read it aloud, uh, you can do it, or if you want me to read it also, it's fine.
Sure. If you want me to read, I can go ahead.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Sure, sure. This excerpt is from a poem on World Vitiligo Day. I have something to say by Arvind Gupta, published in TISA's magazine Samvad in 2011. So the poem says, so if you ever meet a child with a white patch, she might be sulking, miserable in a catch. Make her feel great, touch her soul, lift her self-esteem so that she feels liberated and her spirits can soar. 18 May 2008, Arvind Gupta.
Uh,
Yeah,
so
thanks a lot for sharing that. Yeah, it actually speaks from an emotional perspective of how a child will feel. And of
yeah,
course, most of us, when we develop it or when we go through a lot of treatments, we do feel, that frustration, that irritation. Of course, now we have reached a point where we advocate, we speak about it. But of course, there are times when you just didn't want to talk or didn't want to, do anything because you have it. So
yeah,
you want to be just like any child who doesn't have vitiligo, or, I mean, it's a natural human tendency. When you go through, I guess you will also be able to relate.
yes,
Though we advocate, though we say, but we also avoid glorifying things because we know that, like there needs to be a balance of acceptance and also not glorifying it.
yes,
So
yes.
we need to accept it, at the same time avoid glorifying things, because things, the same vitiligo or even stammering, it can impact different people differently. Some might say it is my strength, but for some they say, "Arey, it has changed my life. I don't think it is positive." And even both the feelings are valid.
Exactly,
So
exactly. Yeah, because there are other layers to these kind of challenges. There can be,
yes,
gender and economic background. So all those factors also come into play when we talk about acceptance.
yeah,
So,
yes.
so when it comes to children, so how do you think society can help them, to feel included and more confident?
I guess when it comes to children, the thing is that a child is least bothered that it has vitiligo. The child is actually not bothered. Even many of us growing up, we were not so bothered. Of course, our parents are naturally bothered. Others are curious. They might ask, like, what happened to you? Did you visit doctor? So what we can do is maybe sensibly. I have made a video on this as well.
Okay.
In terms of yeah, what we can do for a child who develops vitiligo. One is that like parents or any dear ones or even the environment around them, whether it's in schools or anywhere. One is that the parent can go, or any elder from the child's, they can go and have a word with the teacher, that this is the thing, just to sensitize, so that people are sensitized in their
Mm.
ecosystem. And on the other hand, to the child, it's like, of course, the child needs to have awareness that yes, the skin is changing. Why it is changing? It is a loss of skin color. That is the basic of it, right? Not too much of medical science behind it. So it's a loss of skin color. And that is, if the child has that level of awareness, that is good. So in terms of the first thing is, of course, the ecosystem to be sensitized, whether it's at the I don't believe that the parent owes it, but at least in places where the child goes very often, like the school, or in the place where they play with children, in the whether it's the home place or anywhere, right? So there, if they can just sensitize that this is what it is. Like
Mm,
I do simple illustrations, like I draw a hand, I
mm,
shade it, that this is the,
mm,
like, it is blank, but when you add color, it is shaded. But
mm,
then when you erase it, then it again is the white canvas, right?
mm,
Similarly, our
mm,
skin is a white canvas. It has melanin pigment which gives color to it, and the amount of melanin pigment determines whether it gets darker or whether it's light in color. And people who have white skin usually have very less or no melanin,
mm,
right? And
mm.
of course, it different factors are there. I'm not going very in depth, but that is the basics of it. So children usually understand. I feel children don't need sensitization. They naturally include each other.
Yes.
So ideally, it is the adults in the ecosystem who needs that sensitization, that this is what it is, and then the parent can enable it, whether it's at the school, at the home place, in the close circles where it is required, not everywhere. And on the other hand, to the child needs to know what is happening to them,
Mm,
right? Just with a friendly conversation. Again, there are other things in terms of treatments, medication. That is where the child need not feel too like tortured, or you have to try this,
exactly.
try that. The child must feel heard. Like, as a parent, I want to try everything. Like, my parents wanted to try everything. Of course, in our generation, maybe we didn't even have the option to say no. But now you say, many people, I don't want to do treatment. It's a personal choice, right? Sometimes, since my parents were very determined, maybe I tried many treatments. One of them helped me in a good way. But sometimes, of course, it impacts a person psychologically as well. So
Exactly.
that is where parents can set that balance.
Mm,
That is for the kid. At home also, not, always monitoring the thing. Of course, you need to keep an eye, because, there is a fine balance. You can't just leave it also. But at the same time, don't make the child so conscious. And in terms of
yeah.
food items also, of course, there can be some restrictions. Like, me also, as a practice, I eat very less citrus. I
Yeah.
have almost avoided it. And even dairy items, I balance it, because that is what suits me,
Okay.
right? Similarly, for some people, it might be the same pattern. Some people, it might be different. There's no hard and fast things. In allopathy, they don't suggest anything, while in other disciplines of medicine, they suggest, right? So that way, I feel for children, it is ideally creating that inclusive space, sensitizing the elder stakeholders, creating that safe space where they can be themselves like any kid, and also taking them in the journey. Not that you're a kid, you don't know, I will decide for you.
Yeah.
You tell them how much they understand according to their age, right? So take them with you in the journey. They are very important. Their consent is important. Even if I'm
Exactly.
very stubborn that I want to do this, you have to convince that why you want to do,
Yeah.
so that they feel included. They don't. And one more thing, a kid can very often feel that, am I a burden on the parent, right? I'm
Mm,
not like other people. I'm not perceived like other people. I'm not maybe valued or even respected like other people. you
yeah.
know do
Yeah.
I and it impacts a person a lot, especially in the teenage and even after. It
Mm,
decides the
mm,
kind of friendships you end up with,
mm,
the
mm,
kind of partners you end up with. So that is where it's very important. And what I would say, whether it's a child or a teenage, even an adult, I'm transitioning, I'm just expanding your question. So there, if you see, even if it is required, no, go for a mental health expert, whether it's a psychologist, because I believe like therapy can help a lot. Because most of us, we carry a wounded inner child, you know, who was not heard, who was misunderstood, who just wanted respect like anybody, but it never came easily, right? Maybe even at home, or it doesn't make anybody wrong.
yeah.
Everybody we're navigating, whether it's our parents, teachers, at school, our classmates, everybody, for everyone, it was new, nobody to blame. But ideally, that healing is very important. And for that, if you have to meet a counselor, engage with a healer, or whatever works for you, therapy, I would say do it. I've been a beneficiary of therapy. Of course, finding a therapist is a journey on its own, but I feel that, sorting your mental health is very important, even for children.
Yes.
Especially parents also can seek a therapist,
Yeah.
caregivers. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you have, beautifully explained, like, how much children need respect and understanding, because we always
Yes.
sometimes dismiss their opinions. So I think
Yes.
that should not be the case. We have to, I mean, respect what they need and try to understand their social circle, like how
Yes.
he or she is feeling about it. So all those
Correct.
things play a huge role. So as you said, like self-acceptance is a very complex journey, right? So for me, sometimes societal views and misconceptions make it harder. So in your journey of self-acceptance, how do you navigate these challenges and keep moving forward with a positive mindset?
I feel it's a everyday journey. I feel for most of us or all of us, it's a everyday journey. When we say I have accepted myself, maybe there are still parts of me which I have not yet accepted, which is I mean, it keeps happening. For example, earlier, I mean, I had white patches on my face as well, right? So, like, majority of my face was covered, 80%. Why I'm telling this is, that time, of course, now also people stare at me. I'm married, I have a kid, right? My husband or my kid, I mean, they are people without vitiligo, right? So ideally, when I go out with them, or, even earlier, no, when I had on face children or some people would get scared and run away from me. And now also, like, some people might, sometimes do that distancing thing or thing. But what has happened is, as if what I feel is we radiate that energy of how we want to be treated. We have it in our hand of where to draw the line. I'm not telling while doing that I am perfect. I might also need to work on myself in some cases, but it has helped a lot. Like, for example, if when I'm comfortable in my skin, when I talk, when I make videos, or when I'm very vocal about it, people don't see only my skin. They see me as as an individual, as an independent woman who is working, who's earning, who has an individuality, who's also married, also has a kid. Right? There are different strands of individuality. It's not just one identity or one story we carry. So they tend to see many other stories beyond vitiligo.
Yeah.
So that is something, even for you, you are a scholar, you're much more than any one identity, right? For most of us, all of us. So that way, I guess, it helps people to see us in the big picture aspect,
Mm-hmm.
when we actually, are vocal, and we accept ourselves. Because we say, I mean, because when what problem happens is when we need that validation, when we seek validation, that is when the other person senses it. And
Yeah.
that is where we are not treated like we want to be treated, with respect or with value. And that
Yeah.
happens even with me at times. Now also it happens, though I have, the awareness has increased for me, self-awareness, but it happens. We seek validation. And why we do so? Because growing up, we never got validated or accepted for who we are. So that we have given ourselves only most of the times. Though we have been loved, we have been taken care of, or in some cases, people didn't have that too. Right? So, but as growing up, we have been our own providers of emotional availability or emotional intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
that emotional space, right? So more, we very much underestimate it. So that is where acceptance comes from.
Mm-hmm.
How emotionally available we are, or our caregivers are,
Yeah.
of accepting us, and listening to what we have to express. And when we don't have that, we seek validation in all wrong places. And when we heal that, then we leads to a lot of self acceptance and self awareness of what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And
Mm-hmm.
when I say what doesn't work for me, it doesn't mean from a rude angle. It means
Mm-hmm.
that this is what works for me, this doesn't work for me. It's okay.
Yeah.
So I feel that has really helped. I hope you can also
Yeah,
relate.
It's so much to what you're saying. In especially the validation part of it, we
Yes.
indirectly seek it sometimes. So that gives the
All of us seek it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
when it is wounded, when we have not had it, then we end up looking it for in the wrong places.
yeah.
And we kind of develop that. I mean, just I'm just telling for everybody's awareness that, when somebody treats us well,
Mm-mm.
we kind of sometimes act as and feel like an imposter or self-sabotage, that
Yeah.
I don't deserve that good treatment because I'm used to being treated in a negative way. So
Mm-mm.
there's a lot of healing reflection, and I feel things like a good therapist, of course, friends, family are important, but having that personal privacy, with a therapist where you can just let it out, work on yourself, on your relationships is very important.
Yes. Yes. Wow.
It's unbiased. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for shedding light on a lot of things which we overlook sometimes when we think about self-acceptance. Thank you. One thing that makes it easier is seeing ourselves represented in media, advertisements, and leadership roles. So, how do you think seeing more people with uh, differences like vitiligo and stammering in these roles could change how society approach, or society's attitudes towards these things? Yeah.
I feel it can change a lot. It has changed. Even in, like if you see in media or in sports, you see people with disabilities. In Paralympics, we have done so well this year. We have had so many medals, right? And and even like in vitiligo, in media, there is, of course, there is some presence, like internationally, even in India, there is presence. Again, the kind of presence is something I guess we still need to more work upon, because
Mm.
vitiligo itself, represents in different ways. Some people have full body which turns white,
Yeah.
where it is no two skins, it's just one skin color. Like how, and the most of the stigma happens when you have two skin colors, right? Because
Yeah.
that is the thing, that is the thing. When you have two skin colors on the same body, that is what leads to stigma,
Yeah.
right? So but it's a person's choice how they want to navigate. There is no right or wrong to that. And of course, representation in media make will in everywhere, right? In leadership, in corporate, everywhere, it makes a difference, because somewhere, people are able to see a person beyond their disability,
Mm.
skin condition, or even stammering. I mean,
Mm,
they're able.
mm, mm.
The thing is, usually what happens is, we somewhere box each other, that
Mm.
this person has this, so they might be only be able to do that. I mean, that happens very unconscious. It's an unconscious bias, I suppose. But when you see the same person, like people from minority backgrounds doing so well, it somewhere breaks that stereotype in your own mind, that okay,
Mm.
this is also possible. A person with a from a minority group can do as well as like me, whom I, where I think I am privileged or I am better, right? Because we don't reflect on our privileges, and somewhere we see the other person as disadvantaged compared to us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that is a very, I'm not, I mean, that's a very natural thing. You see why people sympathize. I'm not telling sympathy is right or wrong, but people sympathize because we usually sympathize with a person, oh papa, like that
Mm.
bichara, that person is going through. But when you see the same person doing very well, then that somewhere shifts your perception.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't have even imagined that person reaching the level maybe 10 times more than the other person, right? So that
Yeah.
actually, so that really makes a difference.
Yeah.
That's why more people, and it also influences a lot of people from that community to do more. Like, for
Mm-mm.
example, you have this community. There will be so many people, like I know few people with stammering who may not be wanting to come forward and talk. It's their choice, right?
Mm-mm.
Now, when they join TISA, when they are part of it, when they see all of you talk, tomorrow they might be a good speaker themselves. That's how
Yeah.
that's why the representation matters, always matters.
Yes, and also yeah, non-reductive, authentic representation also is very important because, as you said, either they will just glorify it or make it as a very inspiring character, or they will
Yeah,
just mock at the this thing. So there need to be a
exactly. There are two
balance.
extremes.
Yeah,
Yes.
there need to be a balance in how they portray it. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So you have been advocating for over 10 years now, I suppose.
Yeah,
Uh,
close to, yeah, yes, I would say 8 years.
okay. So
Eight, yeah, 8 years. Yes.
it comes with its own challenges and I mean rewards. What are some of the challenges and I mean rewarding experiences that you had?
So if you see in terms of rewards, I would go first. Rewards is that, you're able to do something, which where you don't expect anything back. You're able to give somebody something which they can never return you back.
Mm,
I'm not putting myself on a pedestal, but it's a, I mean, maybe it sounds little, not so selfless, but it also like feels you good, make you feel good that your story, which was maybe, not even given value, is actually helping somebody else come out of their own shell. Right. So that is a
yeah.
satisfaction, or that is a, happiness you get. That's a
Mm,
contentment you get by supporting another person going through the journey.
mm, mm, mm,
That you see value in your own story, and it somewhere gives you that validation that
mm,
your story matters.
mm,
Because of that one video or one story, there are lakhs of people who come forward and talk.
mm,
How
mm.
impactful is that? You
Yeah.
feel that you are important. Your story is important. It has a value to add. So I feel that is that is one thing which actually is. What was the question? Can you repeat? I
I
sometimes
mean,
tend to forget.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, both your, I mean, rewards and the challenges.
Rewards and challenges, sure. So one is that, the power of reaching many, and thanks to internet, the brighter sides of internet, that sitting at home we can reach so many people and spread
Mm,
awareness, right? So that is one thing. Stories are powerful, and similarly, when one story hits, there are 10 more stories which come out, which again exponentially grows, right? Another, excuse me. So another reward is also that it actually makes a difference. Like even in support vitiligo or through the videos, even in the comment section, if you read on my YouTube channel, if you see that, like there are many people who said that that the information has helped them a lot, whether it's finding the right, whether it's just coming out of that depressive state of mind, thinking that there are other people too. Second is also some information around medication, what are the possible available things, some hacks. And third is that you're not alone, like the same point as one. So I feel that way it has really helped. That is the reward, I would say, for me, and also people who have benefited out of it. And the challenge is that what I realized is I would spend hours speaking to people. Like when they would reach out, I would never say no, especially in the early 5 years, whenever I've been always working full time, right? Even when I was carrying a child, I had a young child, now he's going to be 5. So if you see, I would never say no. Only in the last 2 years I have started putting that boundary, because what I realized is I ended up spending hours and hours talking to people. I don't mind talking, but there are different ways of engaging, and guiding people in the right direction is what I understood. Tapping in more into making the videos out of the similar questions people had, which they can benefit the same way, and engaging more on messaging, texting, and also guiding them to go reach out to a doctor and a professional when required. Because what happens, since I don't charge, right? I mean,
mm,
we don't charge, right? I mean, we do it voluntarily. So sometimes it can be taken for granted. It can be, even like it can be taken like, we are at somebody's disposal that we have to support. It's like I had some people, you must tell me. I was like, will you speak the same way to a doctor whom you pay 500,000 rupees after waiting for 1 hour? No, right? You'll respect that doctor's time. Similarly, you'll have to respect my time when I'm here to support. But
mm,
I have learned to draw that line, because it led to a lot of burnout
mm, mm,
along with the job. And when you're listening to people, so many people sharing, depressive thoughts and all this, it rubs onto you.
mm,
It's how
mm.
counselors also, they have to go for counseling for themselves,
Yeah.
right? So I realized that, like, so that is where that finding balance, the
Mm,
word balance again, like where you must support. Of course, if you have the knowledge, we must support. I believe in, I've been doing it voluntarily, and also knowing when to draw the line, because we have to take care of ourselves and the
yeah.
people who are dependent on us. So that I'm being very vocal,
Yeah, no problem.
after
See, we are,
facing certain things.
Yeah.
I will always do my best to support the person, provided, and sometimes it can be a very, see, the thing is, we don't need a award or I mean, we are not waiting for an award or a recognition. At the same time, we want the person reaching out to us to just respect our time,
Mm-mm.
right? Sometimes it's like, hey, what is this, what is that? So sometimes like, it's okay, that person needs support, is very maybe already in a depressive state, so they are talking that way. But when you
Mm-mm.
get many people, it's a mixed bunch. So I'm just
Mm-mm.
just trying to pull up the perception. Like, when people are there to support, we need to learn to respect their time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the other side is what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, yeah, this is a very valid point, trying to find a balance and, sometimes very uh, true statement what you said, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So before we touched on the layers of challenges people face while having the self-acceptance journey. So so on that, like for those with vitiligo or those who stammer, others factors like gender or economic background can add to the challenges. So how can we address these overlaps? Because this also helps in maintaining a sustained inclusion possible. So how do you think we can go about this?
So if you see, like, you are actually pointing out on intersections, right? Like,
Yeah.
all of these aspects can be intersecting, and then from a lens of gender inclusion. Like, for
Mm,
example, if it is a woman with vitiligo or stammering, like, I mean, the thing is that, women, maybe, of course, men go through, it's irrespective. Gender is not binary, it's not man, woman, it is a spectrum in itself. So, but if I have to take two of these identities, just for example, for the purpose of example, then if you see, every individual goes through their grind, when they get impacted by anything, right? Any diverse experience which others in their circle may not be able to relate to. That is where you feel lonely,
mm,
when you are the
mm,
only one going through it,
mm,
right? So everybody goes through it. But again, when it comes to aspects like, like, especially since I'm telling from my perspective, maybe what I had also observed with me or few other people. So when it comes to things like, finding a partner, especially through arranged marriages, right? Arranged marriage discussions and all, sometimes maybe I've heard, I'm telling this based on what I've heard from other people, right? Like most cases, of course, men also, tend to face that discrimination, but women do face it in a larger scale, because, women are also seen of somebody, who will be, birthing a new life, or, like, giving birth to the next, generation, and all those aspects, right? I don't want to go to the nuances, but ideally, that is the stigma which comes with certain intersections and combinations,
mm,
that, that, and what we can do ideally is, so what I would say as an awareness is, like for vitiligo, if you see, in around 80 to 85% cases, it's not genetic or hereditary.
okay.
Most of the people who get vitiligo, they may not have a positive family history. Only in some cases it might be there. I'm not saying it's completely not there, but again, that combination is huge, right? For that, a person with vitiligo will not, stop from starting a new life. It's not that marriage is everything, but if a person wants to get married, then it's their choice. Vitiligo or any condition must not, like, prohibit anybody to living a full life,
Yeah.
right? So that is the intent of me, putting that point that way. That, ideally, it is the right awareness. So even when I get these questions, if, like, my wife has developed vitiligo, whether will my child get it? I was
Mm,
like, no, you can't. There's no hard and fast rule that the next generation will get it. And some people even, kind of develop vitiligo after 50, 60 years of age.
mm, mm,
I
mm,
mean, there is no set age of when vitiligo onset happens. For some people,
mm,
it would have started at 5 years, maybe, or at 10 years, and it would
mm,
have been stable like a small patch. And because of certain triggers, it would have spread after a certain time, right?
mm,
So there are
mm,
different ways to it. So
mm.
because of that, you can't stop living your life, right?
Yeah.
So ideally, it is not genetic, it's not hereditary. In few cases, it might, right? But because that is why doctors also say that around 75 to 85% of people do not have a positive family history. Remaining percentile, they might,
Mm,
in some, but again, it's not
mm,
hard and fast. It depends. It
yeah.
differs. So, and in many families, even in those, the remaining percentile, in many families, not every generation gets it,
Mm,
right? It might be skipped, or but it's very less. While there is a large percentile who get, like in most cases, they will be just counting, like in the past, if somebody had it, the great grandfather had it or something, but it doesn't help. Ideally, you have to accept and see what is to be done for this scenario.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
And
guess
also,
I did
yeah.
some justice to what you asked.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because in stammering, it's like 4:1 ratio. So
Oh,
it's like minority within minority, the female
okay.
who stammers. So we have a separate group for kind of a self-help group for women as well in TISA. And also,
Very good.
one more thing that plays a role is the geographical condition. I mean, geographical places in where
Yes.
people live. Like, I mean, reaching out to them and then making
Very
effort.
valid point.
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
yeah. So that is also we have started, and we are also doing communication workshops in those I mean remote places. So hopefully like this continues to grow and I mean reach more rural places, because there the stigma still prevails to a large extent. Yeah.
I completely agree. And I would like to add in that, yeah, in rural, semi-urban places,
Mm,
whether it's, up north or in different places of India as well, like ideally, we have seen some people, where they don't get out of the house also. In
mm,
few cases, it also would have led to self-harm.
mm,
Because especially in vitiligo, if you see, it is a very visible condition.
mm, mm,
Like
mm,
visibly, it's impacting a person. Internally, I'm all good. I may
mm,
not even, many of may like, people may not have diabetes, thyroid, they're healthy, but they still have white patches on their skin, right? So many people tell me, get well soon. Earlier, people would say so, or like even people who would love, who care for me itself say that you're actually unwell, not me. They
mm,
themselves would have different things like obesity or anything, it's their life, right? So they would have certain diabetes or something, but they would say that, more than me, you need it because it's so visible. But
mm,
ideally, I have a healthy body,
mm,
right? I mean,
mm,
that's what, when it is visible, invisible or non-apparent aspects have its own struggle. I'm not denying it. It's a own struggle, right? Where
yeah.
people will be, again, there are ableist comments like, you look all good, then why do you have this?
Yeah.
But again, if it's visible, it's like, like wherever you go, it becomes the topic. And especially in rural and semi-urban areas, I've heard in some cases where people avoid, even in, like when I was a kid, I don't remember me going to weddings much. I
Mm,
was, I was living somewhere far, also further from the hometown. And also like, I wouldn't go attend many weddings unless I got married, and now I'm going to more places.
mm,
My
mm,
maybe my family was protective about me, all those things.
yeah.
Maybe I was okay going, but
Yeah,
that
I
is the thing,
understand.
one
Yeah.
more thing which we speak about: children. Take your children out if they want to.
Yeah.
Don't confine them just because they have a skin condition or a disability, or it's a child with stammering. You need to take them out. That's how you build that confidence that I believe in you. I want to take you as my kid and introduce you to my circle.
Yes, yes, that plays a huge role. Yeah, absolutely. In the, I mean, exposure is really important from, I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
So, looking 10 to 20 years into the future, how do you envision society and workplaces approaching these, I mean, like vitiligo, stammering, and other differences?
Sure. So what I see as a future of people from diverse walks of life, being included is, I feel that self-advocacy will reach its peak in some years, like maybe at least in a decade. I'm very confident. I would like to put it that way, or I would like to let it manifest. That
Yeah.
people will be more vocal and reasonably vocal, because just being an activist and just being very rude and loud also doesn't help. You have to understand where the other person is coming, no matter how different we think. So ideally I feel people being more reasonably vocal, about what they, how one needs to be treated. And also I feel it also will get blended to the way, like I feel now the next upcoming generations, for them it's very natural. You speak
Mm-mm.
about any aspect of inclusion, it's like, what's the big deal? For us 50 years back, for a woman working in a workplace or certain things itself was a big deal.
Yes.
It was seen. When I hear people who are in their 50s now say that my mother was working, at a government job, then it was like it's such a big thing. Now I feel it will get normalized. 20 years from now, I feel people from different diverse backgrounds working in various things, even in leadership positions, will get normalized. That's what I would like to believe. It will be
Yes.
like, yes, we have a leader with from diverse background. What's the big deal in it? That's the person who deserves to be there because of they are, deserving of it. So
Yes.
that is the mindset shift is what I would like to perceive. Like it is there everywhere. Like whether it's on the TV, the movies we watch, we have an actor from a diverse, like we have actors from various diverse backgrounds, not just gender.
Yes.
Beyond that,
Yes.
right? When I say gender, again, people see only binary male, female.
Yeah. Yeah.
Female actresses being paid more. No, it's like a person with a disability being represented as a mainstream actor.
Yes.
You know, a
Yes.
person with a disability also being a director, producer, or in any capacity, right?
Yes.
Same, a person with a skin condition playing a lead role,
Exactly.
and being
Yeah.
represented in the right way,
Mm.
not glorifying, or that language, everything matters. I feel cinema is, since you told about media representation and corporate are the main sectors where representation has an influence. Now if you see, everything has subtitles.
Mm, mm, mm,
It
mm.
is a norm, right?
Mm.
Everything has subtitles, closed captions. Earlier, we would have to maybe ask, where is the subtitle? We have to, now it's a norm. Similarly, inclusion becomes a larger norm. Inclusion of every person from a minority, walk of life becomes a larger norm across industries and sectors. That is what I envision in the next 10 to
Wow.
20 years.
Yeah.
Hopeful that it will happen.
Yes. Yes.
And I hope we
Absolutely.
all have a good role to play in that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, what I mean, like, the leadership would also, reflect the full spectrum of humanity, which is what,
Exactly.
yeah, it cannot be, one directional approach. It,
Very well you have put the spectrum of humanity, all
yes,
spectrums of humanity.
yes.
Thanks for putting it that way.
Thank you. So, I mean, with this, this brings us to the end. I mean, end of my questions. I would now like to welcome our audience to share any thoughts or questions they have.
Hello,
Yeah, hi, Joshua. We can hear you.
Vidya. Good evening, Ms. Shushmita. Thank you for that
Good evening.
very encouraging, discussion and your thoughts on vitiligo. As a fellow stammerer, I just wanted to know what was the most embarrassing, moment of your life having this vitiligo, because I went through many embarrassing moments and came out of it. So if there's one really uh, kind of standout embarrassing moment, how would you put it, and how did you overcome that?
So one of the
Sushmita,
embarrassing,
if you're comfortable sharing,
no, no, I
yeah,
was just thinking what
okay,
to say when he asked. No, I'm comfortable. I'm
yeah,
completely
sure.
comfortable. Thank you for checking. So
Thank you,
Joshua,
Joshua. Yeah.
yeah, thank you, Joshua. So according to me, one of the embarrassing moments as a child growing up was that my skin was like out for display. It's like people will come, pick my, like even like, my own elders out of good intention only. Like they would pick up and say, see, it is here, it is there. It's like you're just putting your skin on display. And like how many times? Like
Yeah.
यहाँ पे भी है, यहाँ पे भी है, यहाँ पे. It's like, oh, come on. And that too, sometimes it would happen in a roadside or it would happen in public. She has it here. Lift your skirt a bit. It's there. So it's on the knee. I mean, I know. I mean, I was a kid then. I was not like a full grown up. But yeah, those things are embarrassing. I'm not also joking it around, but now I'm laughing. But it can be very embarrassing, when you're asked to show your skin, like just to see. The intention maybe, I'm not telling the other person is again right or wrong, but their intent is to discuss, see if there's any remedy for that. Even before the doctor would ask, I would sometimes see, like she has it here, there. Now, after when I grew up, of course, I could speak for myself. Then it reduced, but that can be very embarrassing, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, and one more thing, it's not embarrassing, but it is more of a, societal thing. Like many people are there who will say, like you're so pretty, and they don't see me less than, they see me as anybody, right? But there is always a like small fraction of population, like who might also comment, a person like you is also married, is also
Mm.
so successful or is also has a kid. I mean, I guess many of us from different backgrounds might hear this. I was like, earlier I would actually not realize it. I would realize it, but I would give them the benefit of doubt that I didn't take it personally. I'd rather educate them that, yeah, I accepted the other person just like, how the other person would have accepted me, just like how I accepted them, right? In any
True.
relationship, whether it's marriage or anything. So I don't see anything, like, I mean, I'm not sure if I'm able to put it forward clearly, but I guess you're getting my point. That,
Yes, absolutely.
people
Absolutely.
usually compartmentalize, like a
Mm.
person with a certain journey can only end up with people with a certain journey. It's not
Mm.
required. We all are one. We all are part of
Right.
one world. So
Right.
anybody can be with anyone of their choice, right? Whether it's a relationship or even a workplace or anywhere.
Mm. True. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was quite embarrassing for me also because I was diagnosed with vitiligo on my lips, and
Okay.
then they said that I have to stop drinking. If I'm not wrong, milk and fish. What they normally diagnose with vitiligo is if you eat milk and fish, then you have that. So I actually stopped eating that for like many years, and then by God's grace, those patches just vanished off, and it became a normal lip. But for the first probably 5 to 8 years, it was very embarrassing for me to even talk, and being a stammerer and then having those patches on my lips was even more difficult and daunting. You see. So
I
anyway,
understand.
thank you so much. You
No,
you
thanks
you
for
you have very well
bringing it up.
articulated it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll add in one more thing. Since you brought it up, I also have vitiligo on lips. I'm just wearing lipstick now, so it's not so visible. So if you see the thing about, you know, sorry, I missed that point. You had told that you told about fish and milk, right? So the thing is, food combinations do not impact everyone. For
Correct.
example, I'm not so I do not have citrus items much because that is I've seen that impacting me when I have it on a continuous basis. That's how my body responds to it. But again, you might have citrus and nothing may happen to you.
Correct.
Most people with vitiligo show some, a thing to citrus and dairy items, right? Now, again, this combination, it may not be in all cases. In your case, for your body, maybe it would have impacted having milk, fish, a spicy thing and milk because it's a dairy item, right? So it can
Mm.
have an impact if a person is, like susceptible to it. Not everybody is susceptible to the same combination, even as per doctors.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
that way we have seen that myth, if you eat fish and milk, then you get vitiligo. Not everybody. It's people who are
True.
susceptible to it, and we know we are susceptible once we get it, right? Or it's
Yes.
before that we don't get to know. So that's where
Correct.
I often speak to people and say that monitoring ourselves, reflecting our own habits help us, actually manage vitiligo very well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank
Thanks
you
a
so
lot
much.
for, yeah.
I wish you the best. As you keep encouraging all of us and others also in your daily walk in life with with this impediment. I don't call it an impediment, but then you have very well overcome it and very well articulated it to us also. Thank you again, Ms. Sushmita.
Thank you so much, Joshua.
Thank you
Thanks a
very
lot.
much, Vidya,
Thanks a
too.
lot.
Yes.
Thank you, Joshua. So are there any other questions or comments from the audience?
Yeah, hi. So I would like to just take few moments. Okay. My name is Srini. Thank you so much, Sushmita ji, for sharing all your experiences and your journey, actually. So we are in the same journey. What we actually see in the life on a daily basis, right? So the acceptance part, right? So which is very crucial, and I feel that the acceptance part is it plays a major role when you have these kind of situations. Okay, so in our community where I stay in our apartment place, right? So I have a girl who is also having this vitiligo issue, and I used to encourage her. She's in class 8 now, and I encourage her, and she feels bad for this because she had these things all over her face and hands and all. So I actually encourage her and support her. Now she's out of it. I mean, in the sense from that fear and coming into society and opening up, right? And she now in our community events and all, she started comparing and whichever events we actually conduct here, she plays the anchor role. So she actually accepted that, and she has opened up now. So I truly appreciate, and I actually relate it when you say acceptance part, right? So thank you so much, Sushmita ji, once again to share all your experiences so far. Yeah.
No, thanks a lot, Srini. Actually,
Yeah.
you coming forward and sharing the story and the evolution, right? She've evolved as a
Yeah.
person. She can
Yes.
now speak for herself, she can also, she's also a very active collaborator, right? She's hosting events,
Exactly.
etc.
Right.
And
Right.
this is
Right.
what
Right.
we need, you are a live
Yeah.
example of being an ally. You have
Yes.
been an ally to her. You have seen value in the individual she is and what she
Right.
can bring to the table. And you have,
Right.
just walked her in her journey. So that's
Yes.
a very
Yes.
good
Yes.
thing. Like, you must give a pat on your back because that is what we expect every
Absolutely.
person, every ally to do. We all are
Right.
allies ideally, but of
Yeah.
course that allyship needs to be displayed like how you have done as well.
Thank you so much, Sushmita ji.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Srini.
Srini. Yeah, thank you, Srini. So are there any other questions or comments, please?
Yeah. Hey, hi, Susmita. Hi, Vidya. This side,
Hi.
Gaurav.
Hi,
Hi,
Gaurav.
Gaurav.
Yeah. Susmita, I'm the part of the TISA from a very long time, and thank you for having the podcast today and sharing the valuable knowledge about the vitiligo and other things as well. And thank you, Vidya, for that scheduling a podcast today.
Thank
Really
you.
learned a lot about the unique thing, vitiligo. So just so Smita, I have some questions about this vitiligo. Like, I come from Uttarakhand and living in Ateri Gadwal, hilly area, and I live in a small village. So there are a couple of person in my village who are suffering from the same problem, vitiligo. But I was not aware of the kind of problem that it can be curable or not. But today, when I heard your comments on this unique topic, then I came to know that yeah, this can be cured. But actually, I joined the s- session quite late, so I was not able to hear the if it can be cured or not. So can you just let me know like the remedies that I can su- suggest them so that they can also use it to cure it.
Sure. No, thanks for asking this, Gaurav. So ideally, if you see, The cure for vitiligo, there is no specific cure for vitiligo as per the medicine field, right? There are certain treatment options which are there. Like one is phototherapy, which I and some other people have also benefited in terms of, like, of course, in some areas like face, hand, like, few areas like hands here, it has shown response. While, of course, these areas, bony areas have not responded, right? So I still have it in my hands and legs. And for some people, it wouldn't have even, impacted on the face, right? So it varies. For some people, it works very well for face and certain areas, but for some people, it may not. So it's not like a proper cure, but it's a it's an option which people can see if they want to try and see how it works for them. Just like how the diet combinations work, which I spoke to Joshua about. And one more thing is there are certain, like one is UV therapy, like phototherapy. In that only there are different forms of phototherapy. The one which I benefited from was UVB. It was only external exposure to the UV rays, under the supervision of in a doctor's clinic ideally. So that is
Yeah.
something which had helped me with the patches on my face and some patches on my hands and legs. While the ones which you can see, it is still there, right?
Yeah.
And of course there are other treatments or aspects like of course there is something called melanocyte transplantation, but again even to go there I have tried that too. So even to go there, people need to have certain health parameters in terms of their thyroid being in check, all those things. And then that entire therapy, that plants transplantation is ideally taking the healthy skin cells from the same body and placing it on the patches which doesn't have the melanin, right? So these are also some of the ways, but again it depends on where the person is with their vitiligo, how active vitiligo is in their body, and the parameters they need to align. And of course, especially the transplantation or any skin grafting procedure, it is expensive too, and none of these actually give 100% or like a guarantee that a person will get recover or get their skin back. But there are different ways, and ideally what has benefited me the most is what has benefited me the most was like in terms of like monitoring my diet, right? I mean, I'm not telling I've not been on strict diet as such in recent years, but seeing my diet, keeping my mental emotions in check, and also those things, the physical and the mental health has actually helped in actually balancing that. So that's what I would say, that more than the medication, that emotional and the physical well-being has helped me manage, and that is what I've seen in many other people as well. You can use therapy, even morning sunlight is very good, right? Morning sunlight is good, but again, all these things are options. They don't guarantee. But even inside sunlight, a good number of people actually have benefited in terms of getting some skin patches back, because sunlight does help in the synthesis of melanin. It has vitamin
Mhm.
D and all those aspects. And one more thing which I would like to draw attention is people with vitiligo may also have deficiency with vitamin D and B12. Again, it doesn't directly lead to vitiligo, but again, if we can keep our vitamins in check, then that also helps, right?
Yeah.
So these all are various ways of managing it. Again, there is no one treatment or one cure for vitiligo yet.
Yeah.
I
Certainly. Yeah.
hope it helped. I know it's a vast
Yeah.
spectrum. I've also recorded a video on this, which is more
Yeah.
maybe like structured. Yeah,
I got it.
it's on
So, do
my
you?
Support Vitiligo YouTube channel. Yeah, sorry.
Sure, I will watch those videos as well. So, do you feel if there is any home remedy for that as well available on the market?
No, I don't think there is a one, there's a remedy. And even if somebody is saying it's 100% curable, then it will somewhere make me doubt it. Because
Yeah. Okay.
as per medicinal research, I've known doctors, I've also interacted with many doctors, they reach out to me. So that way, if you see, there is no set permanent cure. Of course, they're doing a lot of research in the USA, and even in India, there are some doctors who are very, keen on understanding vitiligo further, the various, like treatments that are possible. But there's no one
Mhm.
cure which actually is like a cure. Huh? You take this and it is done. There's nothing of that sort yet.
Okay.
But UV ray, ultra phototherapy, sunlight, a good diet, even like certain aspects like yoga, pranayama has helped people, right? I'm telling from various experiences. For me personally, even though I have vitiligo, I go for swim. It kind of keeps me active. It helps me, right? Not in, it's like overall as a human, it helps me keep active. And I feel that physical and mental balance activity actually helps us regulate it, because ideally it's a balance, right? I mean, beyond the medicine, it's how you steer your life is what, because what we have seen in certain cases is stress, and also a change, life changing events, or even change in diet patterns that have triggered increase in patches in some cases. So that way, monitoring those triggering patterns like stress, mental health, related aspects which impacts our mental health, which impacts our physical health in terms of food, even habits like smoking, drinking. I'm not telling people doing that end up with vitiligo, but it can be an aggravating factor when somebody already has vitiligo or is going through a tough phase. So these are some of the triggers is what and then these are some of the options which you can explore. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I hope
Thank you,
it,
Susmita, for
yeah,
valuable
sure.
information. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sushmita, for patiently telling everything in this podcast. Thank you. So as we wrap up this special episode, I mean, I want to thank you, Sushmita, for taking the time to share your journey, your insights, your and also being part of this heartfelt conversation. And also, I would like to thank Rahul for creating this opportunity, and to our audience for joining us in this conversation. We truly appreciate your time and engagement. Thanks once again, Sushmita, for this.
Thank you so much, Vidya, Rahul, the entire TISA team, and also all the viewers, and to the viewers who will be listening to us. So thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.